I feel like Kashi knows when I'm about to film, because every time he sees me turn on my ring light, he looks at me and he's just like, girl, another video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm already on video 2 for today, so I know you guys have probably seen this outfit already on another video. Another Glamlite video actually, and while I was filming that video, I got the idea to rank all of my Glamlite palettes because I think that would be pretty fun. And I have 9 Glamlite palettes to rank. I did have 10, but I did end up decluttering one of them, and that is the Street Tackle palette. I just wasn't getting a lot of use out of it, so I decided to declare that to my Poshmark. But I have 9 other palettes to rank for you guys. There are 3 palettes I do not have. That is the 2 like pizza slice palettes, as well as the new burger slider palette. I just feel as though I already have the big one of those, so I don't really need another one of those, if that makes sense. So if you want to see me rank all of my Glamlite palettes, then keep on watching. Hey, let's get started. Okay, alright, so number 9 has to go to the Glamlite Taco palette. I know. Hear me out. The color story is not a color story that I drawn to. What I did was, when I first got into Glamlite, I purchased like the bundle, I think. It was like a bundle for $100, and you get the pizza palette, the burger palette, and the taco palette. So I was like, that's a really good price. Plus I had a coupon, so I only paid $70 for all 3 palettes, and regular prices for these palettes are like $40 each. Just about, so I saved a lot of money. This is what the taco palette looks like for those of you guys who have never seen it. I just think that this is such a nice fall palette. But I've used it once and I never used it again. I just don't really gravitate to reds and greens, I guess. But honestly, looking at this might be a really good Christmas palette. But yeah, so that's why I ranked this one at number 9. Number 8. You guys are probably going to be so upset with me, but number 8 goes to the pizza palette. And listen, there are other Glamlite palettes that I personally think are better than the pizza palette. I will say that the pizza palette is superior for the packaging. Love the packaging. I think that this is probably one of my favorite packaged palettes from Glamlite. I think that Giselle did an amazing job with the packaging of this. Like, it's a pizza box, you know. I think it's really cool, and I think that the palette itself has the best packaging out of all of these palettes. But there are other Glamlite palettes that I prefer over this one, as far as color story and everything like that. Pizza palette is, I don't know, I used this once, and then from the looks of it, I didn't even use that many shades in this palette. I just think that it's just basic colors, and I think this was her first palette she ever came out with, if I'm not mistaken. Whatever formula she has right now is so much better than this one. Like, the shimmers are just like, like, they're just fine. The mattes are fine. Look at this. This is just like, compared to what the formula is now and the shimmers now, this is just like, you know. So that's why this is number 8. So number 7 goes to the burger palette. This is where the formula started to get so much better than the pizza palette. Like the pizza palette, this palette comes in a like burger box type of design. Love the packaging on this. This looks so good. That burger looks so good. This packaging is pretty cool of the burger palette. So basically it's a like fluffy kind of packaging. I can't resist. I cannot resist doing that, but it's raised and it's fluffy. And then when you open it up, you get a nice burger in the inside. Yes, all of these palettes have a mirror, except, yeah, I think all these palettes have a mirror, which is pretty cool. Except for the paint palettes, but that just doesn't make sense to have a mirror in those. But this is where the shimmer started to get so good. My favorite shade in this palette is Blue Cheese, and oh my god, it's so pretty. And then Thousand Island. Let me just swatch these for you guys, because you're gonna see, compared to the other shimmers from the pizza palette, this is just like superior, you know. I really do like the colors in here. I think they're very unique. Who would have thought that pizza condiments would make really pretty eyeshadow color stories? Honestly, all of the Glamlite palettes are really good. The formulas are great across all of them, but you know, so like if you are eyeing any of these palettes and they're ranked low in my video, they're still really good palettes, but your girl gotta rank them. They all can't be number one. You know what I'm saying? Number 6 goes to the paint palette, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. If you guys haven't seen my more recent Glamlite review video, it is of the newer paint palette Pro, and I told you guys I prefer that one more than this one due to the color story, and just because after seeing the new one and playing with the new one, I just think that I prefer the other colors more than this. I do think that this palette is such a great palette if you are really into makeup and into color and into color theory. You basically need these primary colors. If you're a makeup artist, you understand that you gotta have your basic colors for certain looks, and I think this is great for that. But number 6 though, it is really good. Love the shimmers in here. That's my favorite part about this palette. But you know, we're about to get into my top 5, and you're gonna see why I love them. Number 5 goes to the Donut palette, and this is such a cute palette. I will say, after actually playing with all of the other Glamlite palettes, there are a lot of repeat shades in here, but I do love this palette. It is very convenient to travel with. This is what the Donut palette looks like. It's really cute. This palette has a highlighter in here, which is really nice. This highlighter is absolutely stunning. It's a little chunky, but it's really pretty, and I think it works across a ton of skin tones. It kind of has like a yellowy, goldeny kind of shift in it. It's kind of like a duochrome highlighter, which I really appreciate. Because of the highlighter shade, it really does bring this palette up to number 5 for me, even though there are a couple of repeat shades that are in a couple of the other palettes that are ranked even higher than this one. Number 4 goes to the Pie palette, which is what I'm wearing today. This is fairly new to my Glamlite collection, but it was love at first sight. I love this palette a lot more than the other ones, believe it or not. I think the color story is really great, and I just love everything about this. It's so cute, and I just fell in love with it because the colors in here are not colors that I would have normally been like, oh my god, I need that. It's kind of on the neutrally kind of side, but I love it because it's such a gorgeous fall palette, and the look that I created today made me really fall in love with this one, so that's why this one is ranked at number 4. And there is a blush in here. You guys know I love blushes, so once again, just the overall color story, packaging, theme of this palette really brings this up to number 4 for me. Number 3 goes to the Glamlite Paint Pro palette. I love these shades in here. Oh my gosh, you guys, that titanium white shade still gets me to this day. I think this is such a comfortable palette to hold. I love the colors in here. If you guys were to say, Tati, what's your favorite type of blue, your favorite type of purple or pink, whatever, I would literally say these colors, because I wouldn't normally gravitate to the darkest blue that you put in front of me. I would go for these kind of blues, like these brighter colors, more softer, but not pastel-y, but like not deep. It's like the middle shade. I feel like that's exactly what this palette is, and I really love every shade in here. These are my kind of shades. If you put a rainbow palette in front of me and you put this one and the original paint palette, I would pick this one in a heartbeat because I just really prefer these types of blues and purples and pinks. Number 1 and 2 were so hard for me because they are low-key kind of similar, but they're not. So my number 2 palette used to be my number 1 palette, but then my number 1 palette came out and it went to the top of all of my favorite Glamlite palettes. My number 2 palette is the Cake palette. I've heard a lot of people say that this one is their favorite Glamlite palette, hands down. And I used to feel that way. First of all, love cake, one of my favorite desserts. The outer packaging is my favorite out of all of the Glamlite palettes. I just think this is so cool. And I'm not one to keep packaging for palettes, but something about Glamlite's packaging just makes me like want to keep it. It adds to the effect of the palette. Yes, it is very hard to store. These are hard to store. These are taking up like 2 drawers that really could go towards other things, but I don't know. They are hard to store. That is the truth. That is the honest truth. They're so fun, and the struggle to store them makes it so much more worth it just because the formula is just that good. So I'm okay with struggling to find a place for these palettes. This is what the Cake palette looks like. This is it in all its glory. These shades are so pretty. I created some of my favorite sunset looks with this palette, and I just think that this is so beautiful. I think that this is such a wearable rainbow palette in my opinion, because you get a lot of like pinks and browns and like those kind of shades in this family, and then you also get like those added colors within here, so you get like the brighter pops. This is that palette where I was telling you guys the Donut palette has like some similar shades, as well as the new Paint Pro palette. I feel like a lot of these brighter shades are kind of the same. I never really put them side by side, so that is something for me to do in the future. But love this palette. I truly love it. I've created, like I said, some of my favorite makeup looks because of this palette. And then lastly, my favorite Glamlite palette to date. Of course, Glamlite is coming out with more palettes, but this is my favorite one to date, and that is the Ice Cream palette. This one is so good, so pretty. It's a pastel palette. Well, it's a rainbow palette, but it's mainly pastel. It's a pastel palette that truly works for people of deeper complexions. And first of all, the packaging of this is so cute. The little sprinkles move, which I think is really, really cool. And I think that this is just absolutely stunning. It's really, really stunning. And the inside of the palette is also really beautiful. So you get so many shades. This was Glamlite's first palette that had all like this many shades in it, and you have all your pastels. Like, oh my gosh, you have all the pastels, you have all of the other like complementary colors that you need for the pastels. And these pastel shades in here are not ashy for me. Like, they are true to color. They're so pigmented. Thanks to Glamlite, whenever there's a pastel palette that another brand puts out and I see that it doesn't work on a person of deeper skin tones, there's no excuses for them, because pastels can be made to work on all skin tones. And thanks to Glamlite, that is the truth. That is something that I know, because I used to think pastels were shades that you just really couldn't really get to show up on deeper skin tones. But get this palette. If you had to choose any Glamlite palette to pick up because you want to just ball on a budget and you just want one palette that I recommend, it is this one. This is my absolute favorite Glamlite palette. I love it. You get the best of both worlds. You get pastels and you also get those normal other colors, and the shimmers are superior. I'm gonna swatch a couple of these. There's multiple shimmer formulas from Glamlite. Some are creamy, literally some of them feel like creams, some of them feel like metallic, some of them just feel like another world of a shimmer. I don't know, but it's just, these are so pretty, and I highly recommend this palette. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Definitely let me know in the comments which one of these Glamlite palettes is your favorite, which one you aren't really feeling, you know, I want to hear it all. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.